Hey everyone, this is Country Pocket, and I'm here with Lynn Madera. The new album is Speed of Sound, and the first song you just heard is called 10 Miles Down. Jesse, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you today, Trevor?
I'm doing good. Definitely
Good.
thinking a lot about what you wrote in your album, um, especially the way you talk about these flawed men and attractions as being almost like this unavoidable gravitational force. Tell me
Mm.
about attraction, especially when there might be some red flags involved.
Oh gosh, uh, I've I've said for years that I don't think that it's our perfections that attract us to one another. I think they're flaw patterns. I think it's the way, kind of like the way a key would fit in a lock. Um, it's not things being perfect and smooth necessarily. Um, you know, That's not to say that I'm not talking about like, volatile relationships or anything like that. But I think, we're bound to work out our childhood wounds with one another. I think that's just the nature of human relationships. But so yeah, I is that the question? Is that a good answer for your question? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting theory. Um, Also in Austin, you sing from like such a passionate place. And even in the song, you're mentioning, okay, this guy maybe not so perfect, but you're presenting this almost uncomplicated high despite it. Is that
Mhm.
is that how you experience love? Complicated, but at the same time not.
Well, you know, Austin was written about, that comes from me as sort of a wild teenager. So it was more lust than love for sure. But how do I experience? Yeah, I mean, I think all friendships and all relationships are um it's a running dialogue, I mean, we're all kind of walking around as these little imperfect creations and just trying to do our best and brushing up against one another. um I don't Is that how, I guess yeah, love is a little bit complicated. That's I think so. I think all kinds of love is all kinds are complicated.
So having aged a good deal since Austin, since your teenage years, do you feel as though you've learned how to better avoid those red flags?
Oh my God. Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah. I mean, you got to swing the bat a few times in order to hit a home run, you know? Um, yeah. I mean, like the man that I wound up marrying is it night and day, that has nothing to do with any of those fumbling, fumbling around.
How central to your life is having your husband to love, is having that person?
It's everything. Yeah. It's everything. I mean, yeah, that's north. He's my north for sure. Yeah. Um, I have been sort of like looking at my palm. I don't know if I believe in palmistry, by the way, but I've been kind of looking at my palm lately, and I've been seeing this fork in my lifeline, and I kind of think being in love and being loved by my husband represents my life going off in a completely different direction. He set the tone for he set the standard, and not just with with romantic relationships, but with friendships and familial relationships, and what I what I should expect, really, you know.
I definitely don't believe in palmistry, but I do believe that a person can have that kind of impact on your life and on how you expect to be treated.
Yeah,
Uh, let
yeah.
let's go to sort of the other side of things on Sweet Pretender, falling out of love. Obviously going back to your past here. Tell me about how the character in that song still has that level of affection for someone who's cheating on her.
Oh, well, Sweet Pretender was written about something that I was watching. So not necessarily something that was happening to me. But I do know there's a few women in my life that I've watched go through that. Um, I guess maybe pride is involved. It's kind of a mystery to me as well. Although, I really think it all comes down to pride, you know. I think having been loved by somebody, um, or feeling like you were intensely loved intensely by somebody, and then just watching them suddenly turn away and being discarded. Um, like in that first verse, where I say, I expect the time will take away these things that I don't need. And then I go on to say, there was a time when he would search a room for me. There was a time when you would search a room for me. And all my life, I cannot figure what this means. That to have that attention pulled away so quickly. I think it really comes down to just, you know, a person searching for their own self-worth apart from this person who's devaluing them.
Yeah, in some of the lustful and falling in love songs, it's almost like this gravitational attraction that love is inevitable. If you come too close, it's going to happen. Do you feel as though falling out of love is just as much of, you know, just part of fate and how things are going to go?
Yeah, everything has an expiration date. Not all of them are printed on the can, you know. um, yeah, I mean everything ends. Whether it's by you did mention we were going to be talking about fatalism, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's because of falling out of love, or death, or whatever, or just things just sort of naturally change. Um, yeah, I do, but the endings of things are just as important as the beginnings.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes how it ends has a huge impact on how the entire thing feels in the future.
Hmm.
Anyway, let's
This
hear what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, you mean it changes this it if it changes the story and how we tell it to ourselves and other people.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Let's hear Sweet Pretender, and we're going to be right back with Jesse Lynn Madera.